Hey
Oh,
y'all.
what's going on? This is your boy D. Seymour, Dr. Seymour with Kenya Johnson and Chris
Yup, that's
Thomas.
me.
That's what we doing right now. We
That's what
are
we're doing.
AutoRing magazine in his house. So we're gonna lead in with the Sebring race. And Kenya, what are your thoughts on the Sebring? What's your initial thoughts?
Man, it was exciting. Like I like seeing all the competitors in the top class. Like, the GTP class is booming right now. It's what I dreamed about, and I think it's really important for manufacturers to participate in that race because sports car racing to me allows manufacturers the flexibility to do their own engineering, where spec racing is very restricted. And so with sports car racing, you have more flexibility with engineering and the way the cars look and sound, and how you can see how it plays out in the way they perform. Of course, there's regulations. There's always going to be rules. There's, of course, what they have now is balance of performance, and they have torque sensors, horsepower sensors, things of that nature, to make sure that the playing field is even. I think the race turned out brilliant. I thought it was exciting. The GT class was exciting as well. There are, I think, right now in the GTP category, which is the top category. Right now is what you have: BMW, you have Acura, you have Cadillac, you have
Mhm.
you have who else? You have Acura, BMW, Cadillac, and missing one. You have four of
Uh,
them.
GTP,
Yeah,
Acura, Cadillac,
Ford.
Ferrari.
BMW.
You got Ford in there.
No,
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 no, no.
Oh,
no. That's LMH.
That's
You have
LMH.
four
Yeah,
manufacturers: Cadillac, Porsche,
Porsche. That's
BMW,
it. It was.
and Acura in the
oh, you
GTP
said
category.
GTP. Oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah,
hear that.
GTP
Okay.
and LMH are two. They're not
Yeah.
really different. They're competing in the hypercar category,
Right. Right.
which composes of GTP and LMH.
Right.
And I thought it was great. I thought the race was exciting. They had a record crowd there. I don't know what that number is, but they had a record crowd at that race. And that, as much as people don't like the whole BOP process, it really has so far been succeeding in what it was trying to do, which is create more manufacturer participation and more close, better, fair racing, which, is going to draw fans to the sport. And so far, since last year, since the debut of the new rules and regulations for that class, the attendance records have skyrocketed and have broken previous records that were held years ago. And so the formula is working. So in the race itself, it was a good race. It's the usual ebb and flow. Cadillac led, I think, a record high 92 laps out of the race, at least that. I think that they had the race. Looked like to me they were on their way to getting at least a first place finish, but what ended up happening was there's a difference between getting beat and
And
losing the race. Okay,
man.
they lost. Okay, I had
Yep.
Cadillac. I predicted that Cadillac was going to win that race overall, and they ended up. Felipe Durrani crashed out the race because he hit
Exactly.
a GT car,
Exactly.
and it looked like a very avoidable incident.
It was. It was. So let me get Chris' take. Chris, what are your initial thoughts?
Listen, all I gotta say, man. Listen, I'm getting tired of seeing Cadillac be in these positions where they are in positions that they can win. It's just they lose by the skin of their teeth. It's happened. It happened last year. It happened this year. I just think now props to Acura. I mean, they handle business at the end of the day. You gotta give them props. I really wanted Porsche to win this race, but out of anyone, I did want Cadillac because
Yeah, you want to root for the American
I
team, you
want to
know.
root for American team.
Yeah.
But it's just that crash that Cadillac had with who was it? Durrani that did that.
Yeah,
Kenya.
Felipe Durrani
Uh,
hit one of the GT cars. It was a
why
Ferrari.
he had no, in my honest opinion, he had no reason to be that aggressive in that position. It looked like he just got way too greedy, and then it costed them. It set them back. And yes, they got up to the point where they could have gotten back in the race, but at that point, it's only like 5 minutes left in the race. You really can't do much in that position. So they again losing by the skin of their teeth, and in situations like that, that can be prevented. The other ones I'll give him a pass for, but this right here, in my opinion, is unacceptable. And I know there's going to be some conversations behind closed doors with him about that because that was crucial. That was a crucial moment in the race when that happened,
Yeah,
and
it was
that's kind of
about what was it, 6 hours or 7 hours in the race?
right, right.
I think that yeah, the Chip Ganassi team could have won, but honestly, man, what happened with them? You can't. I mean, you could blame the safety car rules. I mean, it's just that they they had that race won. They got
They
passed at
did.
like
They
with
they
5 minutes
had
left.
the race won, man, and then you just
They
do
got passed
that.
with
I
five
mean,
minutes.
and I didn't see it until it popped up on my Twitter, and I saw a highlight, and I was like, oh, you got to be joking. You got to
Well,
be joking.
post race reports are saying that okay, Sebastian Bourdais, who was driving the car at the time that he got passed by the Louis Delatraz in the Acura, he said, well, Acura just had the performance at the time. Now, I don't know exactly what the tire wear was like on that Cadillac because it looked like to me Cadillac was a class of the field. They had the fastest
Yeah, they
car
won.
in the race.
Right.
And so
Yeah,
at that
Yeah.
definitely.
time, now at that time, somehow, I think it was the traffic that really played the role in, how Louis Delatraz was able to get past Sebastian Bourdais. I think, once he got stuck behind that Lexus, that opened a door for Louis Delatraz to make that pass. You really don't have much time to make up that position again because you only have 5 minutes left. And so they just lost by the skin of their teeth again. It was kind of a similar situation almost to Daytona where, okay, it looked like they were going to win, looked like they had it. And then at the last, moments of the race, they got in second place. They got passed in the pit lane at Daytona by Porsche. And they
Yeah.
never really could get that position back. They got close, but they never could get it back. Now, I will say this, the championship numbers right now, the championship standings are even for the top, those three manufacturers, Porsche, Acura, and Cadillac. And so, since, they're even now. So I guess the question is now, who is going to be the favorite? Who is your prediction? Because we have all the way to October. That's where the final round is. Who are y'all predicting is going to win the championship? Cadillac won last year. So who's going to win this year's GTP championship?
Let me interject.
Go ahead, Donald. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm thinking more aligned to Cadillac because I think they have something to prove now. I think people, or is it people? Durant, he has
Felipe
something to prove.
Durrani or Pipo Durrani, yes.
Yeah, he has something to prove. You know what I mean? To show himself and to prove his case. I do believe that Cadillac has a consistent track record. You know what I mean? They have showed themselves. I think now is about minimizing those little incidents that hustle. When I was looking at the race, one thing I was seeing is like they had anxiety and they was moving so fast unnecessarily, right? They was
Hmm.
making unnecessarily bad choices and mistakes. I didn't understand why, especially early on in race. And that's one of the things we're gonna segue into. Because I'm like, this is like the first hour or the first 3 hours of a race, and they're killing each other in the first hour of the race, right?
Yeah,
So
I
we
saw
had
that.
the 62 Ferrari GT crash. And so you had several things happening in the race. And so I'm trying to understand what was their mentality. Why was they so aggressive in the beginning of the race. Now hear me out. I understand to a degree why, but I feel like, and this is just from a spectator, I feel like we should establish ourselves first before we become aggressive. And I feel like Cadillac did not establish themselves or establish their pace. So I think now Cadillac is going to go back to the drawing board. They're going to replicate their success, and they're going to delete their mishaps. And so I think now they're going to be more attentive on the choices they make on and out the field. So I got Cadillac as my number one victor. You know, I got Acura as number two. Right?
Okay. I got Porsche number 2.
Acura,
I think. Yeah, I got Porsche number 2. Porsche's look. I think Porsche is. Yeah, I got Porsche. I think it's going to be between. My prediction is it's going to be between Porsche and Cadillac. Acura will be there. BMW will be there. But I think it's going to be between Porsche and Cadillac.
Listen to me.
I agree.
Listen. I'm both of y'all are wrong, and and let me have this little moment, and I'm gonna explain why. This is why both of y'all are wrong. Like, okay, this is just from a novice or point, right?
Okay.
Point of view.
Okay.
This is why I say both of you guys are wrong. When I saw Acura, they have a game plan on how they operate, right? And when they interview the race car driver, right? All the race car drivers, the number one thing was humility, right? They said, they asked the driver, I forgot the guy's name, but they asked him, like, okay, you are the head driver. Why you didn't take the lap? He said, I'm not the fastest, right? And that mindset of understanding your position, right? And understanding when your teammate has a up on you, you give it to him, right? And so that mentality is what makes me think Acura is going to be number 2, right? Porsche is number 3. And I think BMW is going to lose behind some LMP2 cars. And so I don't think BMW.
Nah, they ain't going to do that bad. BMW is, they're going to be there. I mean, I see what you're saying. I mean, Acura, they're not who I wanted to win, but they won.
Likewise.
I mean, and I understand where you're coming from. They were actually supposed to get pole position, but they didn't because of some technical infraction. And they have a quick car, Acura, and sometimes BOP, when it gets adjusted, these guys, the governing body has a really struggle with adjusting that so that everyone has a fair chance. To me personally, from what I've seen now, I think they should just let the cars run and see what happens, because right now I don't know if it's these adjustments that they make. I don't know how much they're actually making a difference, because it looked like to me the same thing would happen. I could be wrong, but Acura, Acura's,
you got to give him props, man.
I gotta give them props.
Give him props, man.
I give them props.
As much as we do not want to see that, listen,
HRC, Honda Racing Corporation. I mean, they got their second Sebring win overall. The last one was a Honda powered prototype. This is actually their first full factory victory at Sebring as a corporation factory effort. So kudos to them. I think under the WEC rules, it would have been more difficult for them to get there. I think Cadillac would have won, but under IMSA rules, and so they won. I give them credit. I mean, I ain't gonna hate. My policy is respect all the brands. All right.
That's not my policy. That's not mine. Look, I'm biased. I'm just gonna be 100 with you. You know? But okay, now I want to lead into some questions about the race, and we're gonna keep it running. All right, Chris, are you ready for your question? Is
Yeah,
is
yeah.
okay? And this is an interesting thing. Now, this is more of a wishful thinking type question, right? And just give me your honest view and your honest opinion on this question, right? Do you believe, from what I'm seeing, right, we have the GT cars going against, the GTP cars, right? The class leading cars. We have essentially slower vehicles going against a higher form vehicle, right? A higher factor vehicle, right?
Right.
Do you believe that, and this is a question for you too, Kenyon, do you believe that we will be better off seeing them, the GTP, the highest form factor, going against each other just on an even playing field without any of these slower cars? Like, what is your view on that? Do you believe that's a good take? They should have another championship or another race where it's just solely the creme de la creme, not the GT, not the lower end, not the element P2 cars, not those cars. But do you believe that it will be a great incentive to just have the creme de la creme, the GTP cars on the track, solely those?
I think I can answer that question because
But it's
what you're.
Chris. It's Chris time. It's Chris.
All
Come
right, all
on,
right,
Chris.
all right,
Just
all right.
ask it one more. Ask it one more time. One more
So
time.
do you believe that
Hmm.
we should only have, or we should allow for only the creme de la creme, which is a GTP, right, to
Hmm.
race by themselves without any of
Without
the
any
slower cars?
GT, no,
Yeah,
not.
yeah. What, like, hear me out, Chris. Right? Let's have a segment, right? We can still have the normal races, but we should interject just a race solely based on the GTP. That's it. No, no slower cars, no GTs, no nothing. What is your take on that?
Well, I don't. I mean, but that's what makes it. That's what makes the race, though. That's why I wouldn't. I'd say no because that's what brings the challenge. Is that you have to learn how to pace yourself properly, position yourself in the best positions possible to where you can gain, an advantage over your opponent. We just saw it. I mean, when these cars get stuck behind these GT cars, they got to get their way through. And that's what makes it entertaining. Is that because listen, it'd be cool if I get to see all the Cadillacs, the Porsches, all them just go 1-1. That'd be cool, but
Mm,
I feel like that would get boring over time because you don't have that
that
variable to where it's
footage.
like you don't know what's gonna happen based off all these other cars on the track. So no, I would say keep it. I'd say keep it.
Okay, Kenya, you'll go.
Uh, Well, what you're
You're
asking
wrong. I
actually.
just want you to know that. I just want you to know you're wrong, Kenya. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right, wrong. You already know what I'm gonna say. I was actually gonna say something. Look, they actually did have that in the past, in the '90s. They had that. They had the GTP category, and then they had one underneath it, which is just more prototypes. In the IMSA series, they had that. They had the Nissan R90 CK, the Toyota AAR Eagle. The Mazda RX-792P was out there. They had the Jaguar XJR 14. They had Peugeot 905. They had races like that back in the past. They actually did, and they were not racing against the GT cars. They were just racing prototypes. Um, and the thing about that is that during that time there was a lot more of them though. At that time, right now you just have different manufacturers in a prototype category, and then you had the spec classes, the LMP2 category. In the past, it was like you could participate in a GTP category or the category right underneath it as a manufacturer.
Right.
Now it's just 4 manufacturers, at the top category. So it would be kind of not as interesting to watch,
Right.
So I don't think even the drivers want that. I think the drivers actually like it if you listen to them,
Yeah, because
they,
it
they
provides that rush because you gotta grind yourself back up there. If you get stuck in position, that's what makes a good driver a good driver. It's not just, yes, you can handle the car well and the car is quick, but to maneuver your way through all these different obstacles to get to that point is what makes a really good race. Because at the end of the day, the cars are already racing by themselves because no GT car is going to keep up with one of them LMH cars. But
right.
when they get put behind, it's about how is that car going to get its way back up to where it's supposed to be, and you never know what's going to happen. Like we saw with Durrani, who does a risky play like that against a car of that like that, and
And
then
end
it
up upside down.
costs the whole race. It costs them a
Yeah,
big spot in the race. That's what makes it entertaining, and that's why we get on the show right now, and we're discussing that topic because of
exactly.
that situation right there. It provides that wow factor. We may not like it. I was for sure not happy at all, but
Yeah,
again, it provides that excitement when we watch it.
it does.
So
Like, it's part of the sport, and the thing is about endurance racing, technically speaking, they actually can beat a GTP car if a GTP car gets set back 20 laps for whatever reason. Technically speaking, fair enough. If it finishes behind the GT cars, then guess what? The GT car finishes ahead of it. Technically,
so
that's the way it is. That's why it's called
Yeah.
endurance racing, not sprint racing. So
I like that. I like that. I like that. Okay, I want to talk about this controversial move that happened, and it caught my attention, and I want to know. I'm gonna go to you, Kenyon, first, and then you, Chris. Do you think it was intentional? Porsche number 6 side rails a GT Acura. Did you guys see
I
that? And
remember
do you
seeing
think
that.
I
and do
saw
you
the
think
clip of
it?
it on Twitter. Yeah.
It's not intentional because that's not a
I,
competitor.
yeah, exactly. I don't think so either.
I mean, do
it,
you? I mean, 'cause it looked
it
intentional because
might
he was
look
like,
like that, but
get
it,
out the way.
it
That's how it looked. It looked like.
it's
Exactly.
just they're really aggressive, man. Like they, it's such a tight competition in that category. It's like
Mm-hmm.
every second counts, so you have to bite down the whole 12 hours because everyone wants to win, and the competition is so tight. It's really stiff in that category. So to them, every second counts, even the pit stops. Like if you look at them going to the pits, you know, like they will be right behind, literally bumper to bumper coming out of the pits because they are so competitive. They feel like every millisecond counts. They don't even want to slow down a little bit to get off your bumper coming out of the pit or going into the
Yeah.
pit.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's just the way it is, man. It's the name of the game. Every second counts because you never know what can happen. You know, but it the but of course it's not intentional. I mean, it was maybe
I
a
ain't
bit
gonna lie. It
careless.
looked intentional. He was like,
It
man,
was
get out
very
my way.
careless. It
Get
was
out my
very
way.
careless. It
And
was
she
very
went
It
right
was
into
careless.
it
the
was
wall.
careless. That's a good word. It was careless.
It was
It was
careless.
careless. I don't
Yeah,
think it was intentional, but it was careless.
he looked
It
like, get
was
out my way.
yeah, he hip checked him. He
Okay,
and I think
okay,
the
okay.
driver that he hit was Catherine Legg, a female
Yeah,
driver.
yeah. Female driver. So okay, I think I'm gonna allow you guys to do your closing thoughts on the race, right? Each one of y'all, and I'm gonna end the closing thought. So Kenya, I'm gonna start with you. So
Man,
keep
shoot,
it.
look,
What are your closing
man,
thoughts?
that was a good race. It was everything that I expected it to be. I mean, right now it's a dream come true. I would I recommend anybody who likes racing in general. If you like NASCAR, if you like Formula One, I would say try to get into sports car racing. I think it's much more interesting and it's still entertaining. Um, I think the race was everything that you could hope for in a race. It had the bumper to bumper. It had the the drama. It kept you on the edge of your seat all the way to the very end of the race. You didn't know who was going to win. And that's what makes it good. You know, if it's so predictable, then it's not as interesting. And that's what IMSA was trying to avoid with the regulations, is that they did not want you to be able to predict who's going to win, you know? And so, I think, you know, the race was good. It's exciting. It's an exciting time. I mean, this is not a time to miss, you know, endurance sports car racing. So, I think, there's going to be more to come. You know, there's Le Mans coming up, and I'm excited. I think you couldn't ask for a better race. I mean, it was a good race. I mean, what can I say? I mean, competition was tight. There's no such thing as really a loser anymore, almost, because the cars are finishing on the same lap nowadays. In the past, they could be 3 laps down and get second place. Now they 3 seconds behind and getting second place after 12 hours. So
Yeah.
So it's great. It's great stuff.
All right, Chris, your closing thoughts on the race.
It was a good race. Aside from, you know, from what Cadillac's issues, it was a very great race. And like Kim mentioned earlier, we did have a record-breaking attendance. That was amazing. What that really means is that endurance racing is growing. It's growing, and it's going up and up and up. And I think in terms of quality of the racing, it's getting better too. I think these guys that they've gotten here now are some great drivers. We've got great cars. I'm excited for the future because look, King, we talked about it. Porsche, listen, they gonna be back, man. I'm telling you. They've already got the first. They've got the
part
first
of the empire. Of course, they're gonna be back.
That's right.
That's the empire, man. Volkswagen. That's right.
And this year, I think this year's gonna be a record year, man. Because Porsche, from what we've been seeing in the past, they've just kind of been like, you know, kind of lackadaisical. And you know, they're there, but they're not there. Now they're like, all right, let's show these guys who we actually are. And to come in and win the first two, they won Daytona, and they come back and they win Qatar in WEC. That's a great showing. And then they didn't do bad here at Sebring. I mean, unfortunate finish, because like I said, in my opinion, if you're not one, you didn't win. You got to be one. Same goes for Cadillac, all of them.
Yeah.
But and again, great race. I'm excited for what the future holds. It's gonna be a really exciting year, guys. It's gonna be really exciting.
And I just want to add one more thing, because a lot of people are saying, you know, Porsche didn't really show up, but I'll tell you this, like I said this a while back, and I'm not gonna spend a long time on this, Donald. I'm just, you know, give me like 2 more minutes to say this.
Oh, you got 1 minute, but go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say, you might say that, oh, Porsche didn't show up, or this manufacturer didn't show up. Look at the BMW V12 LMR back in 1999, 2000. It was an awesome car. It was great. It won Le Mans. It won Sebring. But look at the M Hybrid V8. It's different. And it might not necessarily be because the car is bad. Same goes for the 963. But it just goes to show you that nowadays, in the 21st century, it really is harder to find a bad car in general, period. The competition is just tougher. And so since that is the case, it's harder for you to be a standout manufacturer, even in motorsports now. You know, and it shows. Like the 963, I think, is Porsche. I think they did a great job, you know, with that car. I just think that, you know, Cadillac, the way they were looking back when, you know, the series was still called a Rolex Grand Am series, when they had that Chevy DP back in, you know, before 2014, back in those days, before they merged with the American Le Mans series, they've been dominant since then, really. And I was like, okay, I would like to see what they would look like against Porsche, because that's a dynasty clash in the making right there. Like, because I would like to see what would happen. And what's happening is what I thought would happen. Cadillac would give them a tough time.
Yeah.
Because look, back in the day, that North Star V8, that wasn't a good time for Cadillac.
No, it's not. No,
That
it
North
was not.
Star LMP they had was not good, okay? But it
It
just
was
goes to show
garbage.
you, as a manufacturer, how far they come. Like, and it's not a knock on Porsche. Porsche is going to be Porsche, okay? Regardless, okay? They are going to be Porsche. I guarantee
Right.
you. But a lot of these manufacturers have gotten better. Acura gotten better. I think
Right.
BMW is still BMW. It's just that the manufacturers that we used to view as big underdogs have now
Right.
become real contenders. So I just wanted to say that.
I'd
Okay.
agree.
Okay, well, my lasting thoughts on the race. One of the things is I love the nitty gritty. As being a spectator, I love the nitty gritty. I love the grit, the hustle that they had, the tenacity. And that was one of my closing thoughts. I love that. I love just the theater that the Cadillac brought with its V8 rumbling. I love
Yeah.
everything about the race. And and I even love I call it bullying. You guys call it, a mistake. But
Bullying.
I love every bit and every part of it. And it was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal race. And I think if you are a novice like me, if you are just somebody who want to enjoy the automobile culture, this is a beginning point for you. Like, this
Yes.
is a point for you to enjoy and just sit back and relax. I would tell anybody, go to a race. The whole point of the race is to just sit back, relax, do a picnic, and just enjoy yourself, right? And enjoy what's going on. And so, yeah, the race was phenomenal. That being said, let's move on to our arguments.
We're going to
And
transition. Yeah.
we transitioning into the arguments. What about them Jaguars?
Oh man, gosh,
Oh,
man.
you don't even,
Oh my
man.
gosh, man.
Don't get me started.
Look,
I don't
man.
even want to.
Oh
Hey,
man.
hey,
I'm about to.
Jaguar, they gonna last.
Jaguar is creating company suicide. That is what they're doing.
No,
This
no,
is
Yo.
manufacturer suicide.
no,
This
no, it's
that this
not, Chris.
Oh,
They
yes, it
gonna last.
is.
They gonna
No.
last.
You just don't want no competition for Genesis. That's what
that
that's
might
what
be
it
what it
is,
is,
man.
Kenny.
You don't want
That
Genesis
might
to
be
get
what it
embarrassed. That's
is.
what it is. You don't want them
That
to have
might
no
be what it is,
competition.
Kenny.
You don't want them to have no
Oh
competition,
my
man.
Hey, we
God,
don't worry.
y'all
Hey,
gonna
hey, Kenny, let's not. We don't gotta
That's
worry about that
right.
because
oh
We
Mazda.
ain't
my
gotta worry
God,
about y'all. We ain't
We
worried
don't
about
worry
y'all.
about.
Y'all gotta get up to infinity level. Y'all gotta
oh
get up to
my
the Lexus level.
God.
That's right.
Hey,
That's
And
right.
Mazda's coming too.
We coming.
Mazda's
The
coming too.
Mazda's coming for y'all
okay,
too,
okay,
man. And I
I
think
got
y'all
some.
doing something.
Don't
I got
even
something for
worry.
y'all. I got something for y'all. Okay,
You got
but
something for
okay, real talk, real talk.
real
Okay,
talk.
Jaguar, life or death, right, is in the power of the tongue. So
I ain't gonna speak
what
it
this
over them, but
Jaguar is speaking, what language are they speaking? Are they speaking death or are they speaking life?
I'll
Can
let you
you,
go first. You want me to go first, man?
you know what?
Good.
Can you go? Just keep it. Keep it,
I'm look, man. I'm gonna try. I don't understand what in the devil has come over. For one thing, I don't know how they got that CEO. Look, like I believe in respecting all the brands, and no disrespect to Terry Bollard, but you made the wrong decision, brother. You made a horrible decision. It's a horrible decision to do that to that company, to a company that
No.
needs
Give me 1
to
second.
thrive.
Give me 1 second. Yeah, go ahead, y'all. Give me 1 second. Go ahead.
All
all
right.
right.
It was a horrible decision. For
I'm
one
gonna
thing,
join right back.
the first mistake they made was that they canceled what was going to be the next generation XJ. That was the first mistake I made, and I know that car was going to be a beautiful work of art. Why? Because Ian Collum designed it, and his
Does it?
pupil, his student, Julian Thompson. Ian Collum designed the last XJ, the XJ,
Exactly.
the beautiful looking one that's timeless in design, a coupe profile. He designed that one. So I know the next one was going to be just as good, if not better, if not even better. And from rumor has it that it was actually going to be a hybrid chassis. So it wasn't necessarily going to be full electric. It was going to be on a platform where it could be all electric or hybrid.
Yeah.
And so they decided to cancel it and say, oh, we're going all electric at a time where you don't even know what's going to happen to the sales of EVs, which right now are less than impressive compared to what they would like them to be, at least.
Okay. Let me give you my take right now. And here's the issue with the take. With the overall picture, right? The issue is let's and again, I want to take your approach, Kenya. I don't want any company to think we're bashing them. I don't want any company to think that we have any out against them. You know what I mean? I don't want any company to think we're coming in here trying to parade their weaknesses. You know, this is not this type of platform. But what I
Right.
do want a company to understand is that we will not stand by them making stupid moves. And here's the thing. Again, this is no disrespect to any company. I want to make that very clear. No disrespect to any company. And I just want to make that 100% clear. But Jaguar is a British company. And if we know anything about the British and their track record when it comes to electronics, it's piss poor at best.
Absolutely.
So why in the world are we deviating from the path? You barely understand the basic electronics of any vehicle. And now we are going to put an EV in British? That's not going to work. That is not a great idea. I just don't understand their mindset. It's like they don't know their weaknesses. They don't understand, okay, historically speaking, when it comes to electronics, that's not our strong suit, right? So now, let's say hypothetically speaking, right? We know that Jaguar can make something sexy, right? They have a track record, right? They have a proven track record with the
Absolutely.
SJ, the F type,
Absolutely.
just proven track record of creating some of the most sumptuous
Yeah, and those cars
sexual cars,
they're canceling
right?
right now, by the way.
Exactly. So let's go this route. Let's go the route of EV. Let's be the advocate of EV, right? Hypothetically speaking, right? If we go with that route of EV and we go with the Jaguar route of EV, and let's say they make some of the most beautiful EVs out there, right? Hypothetically speaking, we know that it's possible with Jaguar. But now we have to rely on their history. Now we have to rely on their track record. Now we have to rely on their customer service. We have to rely on all those things. And it's like the CEO is not conscious of Jaguar track record of their customers, of their customer base. And that's very concerning to me. And it's like we are taking a huge leap to do an EV. And so moving forward, we got this EV company, and let's say it's established, right? When we get the first line of customers, and now they find out their cars can't even start, or their battery's dead, or their car is on fire for no
I don't think
reason
it's
at
gonna be
all.
that bad. I don't think
It's
it's gonna
listen. I'm not trying to knock anybody, but let's be honest. It's British Automotive. I'm not trying to knock anybody, but it's a
but
track record in British, even with McLaren. McLaren has a track record of being one of the most unreliable supercars out there, right?
You got Aston Martin too, so they British.
Okay, that's true, but they have German in them, so they have a German sugar daddy, so they kind of different.
And
I agree.
another thing you're forgetting. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Another thing we're forgetting, all of us are forgetting, is not only are they, for one, they are canceling all their current cars and they're keeping the F pace, the E pace, the I
Sheesh.
pace, and not only are they canceling the cool looking cars right now, the sedans, the
Mm,
sports cars.
mm.
Not only that, they're
Okay.
also going exotic. That means they're going above Mercedes market with their EVs, which is there are none. There are no exotic EVs. There's the Rolls
You
Royce Spectre. That's the only exotic.
no, you can't. You can't. You can't.
That's very exclusive. That's very exclusive. I don't know if that's exotic. I don't think that's exotic. That's the only one in
And we,
terms of
yeah,
they had the XJ, the XF, the XE.
yeah. Ooh.
The legacy car companies are not doing good with their EVs. If you really want, they, yeah, Zog, Zod
Yeah,
electric cars, man.
it's serious. It's they got that
They are
that booger
tripping.
sugar in their nose.
They
And
yeah, they are tripping because they cars it is look, they getting it wrong because the XF, the XE was already canceled here
yeah,
and because of sales. The
yeah,
XF was barely hanging on anyway. And so it's suicide. And I ain't gonna lie. I feel like I know what they're doing. They're relying on Top Tire Motors, their parent company right now.
that,
And
yeah.
they have, and just in case they fail, they have someone to fall back on. But the thing about it is they're really, you know, they're really almost, I say, it's suicide because it's like the only reason why Jaguar exists right now is really because of Land Rover brand. I think they already would be out of business already. The
And that's
last,
real.
the last premium automaker. I mean, because generally companies aren't as reckless these days about their decision making, but because the last, if you want to count them as a premium automaker, Saab was the last premium automaker that went out of business that I can think of. You know, they were in a really bad, they were doing really bad numbers back then. Um, and I think Jaguar, you know, right now, in terms of premium automakers, you know, they're in a worse position than Infinity. I thought both of them were in bad positions. You know, some people were predicting Infinity was going to go under after the pandemic, but Jaguar is actually, you know, even worse position right now because, you know, they've done this multiple times where they'll recreate the brand from the ground up, like just like they did with the 2010 XJ when it came out. You know, they no longer making those XJ8s anymore, those XJ6s, those XKRs, you know, that they used to. And the brand to be honest, used to be a prestigious brand. It really did have a lot of respect. At one point in time, they were up there and they were in conversations and being truly cross-shot with BMWs, with Mercedes Benz and Lexus, and when they came out, and I think even before Audi even became a premium brand, Jaguar was actually above them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
let me ask you a question. What stopped that? I want to ask you a question. When they was in
I
that conversation, I want to ask what stopped that? What stopped them? I know the answer, but what stopped them from being in that conversation with BMW, Mercedes? What stopped
they
them?
I believe that it was the nagging issues of quality starting to catch up with
Exactly.
them over time, over a period of time, to where
Exactly.
people were no longer viewing them with as much as respect, anymore. Because Lexus came out in 1990, and they took the world by storm. And I think at that time, I think Jaguar started to fade away quickly, because there was really at that time no reason to. There's not as much of a reason. When you have, because the German brands are not known for reliability either, like that. They're not known for that like that. But at a certain point, when it gets bad enough, it's
Yeah,
just
it get bad enough. Like
it gets it's because German brands they have a lot of little bugs and stuff, like
yeah,
the folding mirrors break, or the blind spot monitor is acting up, or
but yeah,
maybe the seats adjustments don't work as well, or the seat heater is broken on one spot or something like that. It's a lot of little stuff. But Jaguar had, pipes
consistent.
busting, and engine blocks overheating, and you being stuck in a garage, Yeah,
Oh yeah,
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 stuff like that. Like they had bigger
exactly.
problems. And that yeah, I don't
Mm.
know either.
Okay, okay. Let let let
and,
me. That's
and
true.
Julian Thompson quit after they canceled the XJ. So you already know he was mad.
Let
That
me interject this though. And Kenya and I had this conversation a year ago, and I told you why companies, big companies that have been grandfathered in over the century, why the home state company are going to EV, right? And what did I say? I told you that these companies, right, the big three or the big three German brands or British, they're going EV, right? Because of a perception that they have gained from the general public, right? And the general public is loving Tesla. But here's the thing about that. That is a false perception. The only reason they like Tesla is because of the name, the brand cachet. Exactly.
don't forget about the fact that a lot of these companies would probably prefer not to go all EV, but because of the regulations, they're being forced to do so. You can either do that or buy green credits and pay huge fines. Which one?
Or go hybrid, right? Which is the best of both worlds. Like exactly.
Hey, hey,
That
hey, we'll talk about that because hybrids are picking up. But that's another
so
subject.
let me keep this let me bring on this point though. A lot of times we are confusing people infatuation with an ideal or with a cachet with the actual thing, right? And so I want to use alcohol for example, right? Somebody makes some type of alcohol brand and it really tastes horrible, right? But people are drawn to it because of the name Cascade on it. And so another company will make the exact same alcohol taste similar, but they won't fare as well, right? And one of the main reasons why they won't fare as well is because they don't have their brand cachet behind them. And so, incidentally, what Tesla has created is a brand cachet, and people want to be affiliated with their brand. They're not genuinely into EVs like they think they are, right? Because
There's
almost
better EVs
every,
out there.
exactly, almost every EV is better than the Tesla, right? Reliability, quality, overall value, right? So they're not buying the Ford Mustang Mark E or the other EVs out there or the GMs or whatever. They're not buying these EVs. Why? Because guess what? It's an issue of the heart. Their heart never was on the EV. Their heart was on the cachet and the brand and being affiliated with a certain brand to say, hey, I got money now because I'm in the Tesla. I'm I'm driving big now. You feel me? And so I'm affiliated. Now you know that I have money because I have a Tesla. Exactly, exactly. And companies have confused that with, okay, we should flood the market with EVs because people will buy it. Teslas. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just switching to their infrastructure. Yeah, yeah.
No. No.
No, no.
Yeah. Exactly. For GM. Yes. This ain't the way. Well, it's going to be an EV because
This Jaguar is. I don't get them, man. They, you know what? To be honest about Jaguar, to be honest, I ain't gonna lie, because yeah, I do think EV is a mistake for them. You know, I think it's a mistake for them, especially in the predicament that they in right now. That's a problem. Um, they had the opportunity to correct their wrongs. At
they
one
did.
point, there at one point, I say at one point now, Donald, now be clear, their reliability was starting to get better between 2010 and 2017. They
Yep.
were doing better, and the
Yeah.
XJ was doing good numbers. They had a really good year in 2016, 2017 during around that time,
Yeah.
and they had an opportunity to correct some of the mistakes. But the problem is the XE and the XF. The XE and the XF, their problem is the reason why I feel like they did not do the numbers that they were supposed to do with that car, even though it got great reviews on in terms of its ride handling um, combination. You know, it had a really good balance between ride quality
In
and
sportiness.
driving dynamics, but
Yeah.
they did not have a lot of other stuff. They did not. They infotainment system people dogged it out. Um, I thought their controls inside the car were actually quite good. I actually like, how they work. I don't know about their infotainment system, but they did not have good quality. Their interiors were plasticky. They didn't have much. The XE didn't have much interior space. And compared to the German brands and even like the, Cadillac ATS, which actually had a similar issue, like they didn't have the quality that, some of the other premium marquees had in terms of material quality, build quality, and interior space. I think you could even argue they were probably even worse. They had economy car quality in that XE for premium pricing. And yeah, while the driving dynamics are good, it's rear wheel drive. It's ride quality was good. It had a nice navigation map, on the driver instrumentation cluster, and it had some good stuff. But people would dog out the infotainment system because it lagged. The interior quality was plasticky. It was cramped on the inside. And they had maybe unrefined powertrains in it. The 2-liter 4-cylinder was not a favorite. The V6 was good.
Okay,
but they had an opportunity to correct that. They waited.
Yeah.
The car that they facelifted the XE.
Yeah, I remember that, and it was nice.
But the thing is about that is that's the car they should have came out with first. That's what they should have did first. They should have never had a facelift to correct those mistakes. The first impressions is the last. The XF the same thing. They should that it was the same thing with that. They should the nicer car that they have now on the market is what they should have did first. And maybe they would have did better numbers, at that time. And maybe they would have been more competitive with sales and got better reviews.
I agree. I'm gonna say this last statement, and then we're gonna segue because we, time. Chris said something. He brought up Mercedes, BMW, and I think this is a key point when humility has to come in. You have to be humble, right? There's certain things that Chris is better than I am. You're better than me, right? If I see Chris is better than me in something and he's struggling in what he's better than I am in, right? I need to at least at the minimum take note to say, okay, Chris is better than me in this arena and he's struggling, right? Kenya is better than me in this particular arena and right now he's struggling. So I need at the minimum humble myself and take notes, right? I need to at least think critical before I go into that arena and execute, right? That's at the minimum, right? So when I see Mercedes EQ series not selling in China, I need to rethink my game plan. If Mercedes, the creme de la creme, is struggling
here,
if BMW is
struggling here,
America,
not just in China.
But no, I say China because Chinese.
But China offers subsidies for their startup EV brands over there. They know they're not offering that same thing for imported vehicles.
However, Chinese love them some Mercedes. So my issue is, if you see them struggling in America, China, BMW is struggling in China, America, with their EVs. Why in the world would you say, well, I think I'm gonna go EV,
and go exotic too.
Oh no. Listen.
And then go exotic. We're gonna see $200,000 Jaguars. $250,000 Jaguars, man.
What? Oh man, it's gonna be hilarious. But yeah, so I just think humility. All you guys take were spot on in humility. Because we talk about Jaguar, I wanted to bring up a close counterpart to Jaguar, right? And they might be making a turn, and this is going to be our last topic due to time constraints, but they might be making a turnaround. Now, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about.
Hmm?
Who is it, Kenyon?
Turnaround?
Yeah.
Jaguar?
No, their
Turn.
counterpart. Who counterpart, Jaguar counterpart, their contemporary. Who might be making a turnaround right now?
You
What
talking
car
about?
company might?
You
What
talking
car
about?
company? What I'm
You
talking
talking about
about?
Land Rover? No.
No, no. I said could no, no. Monster.
You said that counterpart. I was like, what? What do you mean?
I said that I did not change it to their contemporary,
No.
right?
Oh
So
man.
so yeah, monster.
But that.
No, I'm joking.
That.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. No, it's Infinity. It's Infinity. And so I wanted to segue into that. And so here's the thing about Infinity. We have the Infinity QX80. Is it too late?
Dog,
So is it too
bruh.
late? I want Chris to follow. No, not follow, but I want Chris to lead. Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. Mm, yeah. 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 It, now I'm gonna challenge you on that. That's your opinion. Well, we'll see. Look. You know what? I want to look.
How can you? Okay. Ken, I want you to briefly state how in the world can you challenge what this man said? What this man said was proof of fact.
What? Look,
Okay,
man. Look. That Escalade is like you said, presidential, man. Look, it's the same effect as it always is. Once
Kenya,
you get used to
you
seeing what,
you
look,
are breaking
listen.
my heart right now. You
I ain't
about to
say
make me
it's beautiful.
emotional.
Okay, look. Look.
Oh,
I'll say this. Look. I'll say this first and foremost. Infinity. I would just want to say, welcome back. Welcome back. Finally, they have come back, and so they're not gonna mess up nothing. I want to see they. They ain't gonna mess up nothing. The QX60 I like. Okay. Now don't make that face. Yeah, it's nice. That's right. The
it's
QX60 is nice. It's not as nice as the QX80. They didn't do as much for it as they did the QX80, but it has potential. Okay. They need to
no.
show it the same love that they show the QX80. They can do that. They can fix it. That thing is beautiful, man. What you talking about? What's wrong
Oh
with
yeah.
it?
By the way,
What's wrong
audience.
with it?
Oh no. By the way, audience and all the people who
Listen,
are listening to us,
listen,
can you think
listen.
the QS60 look like a Range
Look,
Rover?
look. I didn't say Range Rover. I said it looks similar to a Velar. Okay. All right. I said that in the
No,
past, but I still like it. It's
but
nice.
with that statement, I feel like you losing ground, buddy.
Look, look, look. Listen.
I mean, you had
Anyway,
such a
let's get back on topic. We're gonna go talk about what I said years ago. All right. Now, listen here. Listen here. The Infinity is back. That QX80 is beautiful. Now, did you ask the question? You asked the question, is it too late for Infinity? The answer is absolutely not. It is definitely not too late. You know, Infinity, I don't think was ever in a position to go under, even after the pandemic. They have, Nissan. It's still one of the second largest brand in Japan right now, still. So globally. So I don't think they were ever going to be in any trouble of going under for good. They just had to start and, caring about it and stop ignoring the brand and make a decision on whether or not they wanted that brand to be great. I think in the past, they struggled to find out the identity of that brand overall. I think they had a lot of issues with brand identity, where they wanted to fit in the market, what type of vehicles they wanted to make, I know in the past they wanted to be like the, alternative to more BMW than necessarily Mercedes Benz. They wanted to be more sporty, they wanted to be on the more sporty of the luxury side of their cars, the way they drive and the way they look. And I think that, since their lack of success in the past, they had a good year back in like 2003 or something when they got Motor Trend Car of the Year. And then after that, when the Q50 came out, they said, oh, we don't like the Q50 because it got drive-by-wire steering. People don't like the lack of road feel. It's not as good as the Infinity G-Class. And then things kind of fell after that a little bit. And then Carlos Ghosn,
Yeah.
that whole fiasco happened and that scandal happened. And whether or not he's guilty or not, they took a huge sales tank after that. And they never really been the same since he left the company. So I think now they are, they are realizing, that they need, if they're gonna exist, if they're gonna exist, you might as well, do your best. And I think that they put this product here, the QX80, is the most effort I've seen Infinity put in a product in a very long time. And yes, I will say I can understand people saying it looks better than the Escalade interior wise. I know, Donald, you never liked the Escalade current generation that much anyway. So your opinion don't even.
Yeah. So that's because let me explain myself to a man who thinks the
Look.
QS60 is a velour. So listen. So listen, when it comes to the Escalade, the thing about the Escalade, I feel like it's the visuals and the exterior is a bit underwhelming. I like the previous generation. No, listen, for real. I like the
Bruh.
no, listen. I like
One
the
thing
previous.
Cadillac know how to do is get that Escalade right.
Yes,
Look,
the previous generation. I actually like the previous generation better. Now, when it comes to interior, I love the interior of the Escalade. Right now, honestly, it's not for me. Period. Like any like oversized SUV is not my thing.
yeah, I
Period.
get that.
Right.
It's about the
However,
design.
design wise, it doesn't suit me. Right now, let me segue into the QS80. You said some things that I want to sum up. Anthony Joshua. He find his identity. He's confident in who he is, and he know what he has to do to get the job done. And that's QS80. It's like they understood they was against the rope, and if they gonna come out, they gonna have to come out swinging. I'm
Yeah,
talking about
absolutely.
Infinity, and
Absolutely.
Infinity came out swinging exactly one hit a quitter. It's very rare for the production version to look almost exactly like the concept. So when I seen the concept, I was just like, because the QS80 previous concept, right? When they showed it, I was like, oh, that's nice. And then when they showed the actual production, I was like, now this concept of the QS80, I was like, wow, okay, cool. But I had my hopes low because Infinity had, disappointed me. So when I saw the production, I was like, this can't be the production. It looked just like the concept. And I was like, wow, the execution of the production was bar none. And so they really did put their heart and soul into the QS80. I think it's going to be a contender. I think it's going to be knocking on some people's doors. I don't believe, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna ask this question to you guys. How do you think the Wagoneer? Because let's be honest, I want to be honest. The QS80 do have a nameplate. They have a nameplate. Out of all the vehicles that Infinity stopped selling. They never stopped selling the QS80. The QS80 has been a nameplate. It has been a home state at Infinity. So how do you think the Wagoneer will fare in the market with the new QS80? Do you think it's gonna be like a little it's gonna be like a little blood on the street, or do you think the Wagoneer might not fare well? So can you can
Well, I'll just say the Wagoneer being a Jeep, people.
y'all biased in the mug?
It's a Jeep, man. It ain't no premium product for real. Okay, yeah, the Wagoneer is nice. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It's nice for a Jeep. Yeah, and you know what? I mean, I don't know. It depends on how many people. I'm pretty sure since it's a Jeep, is going to do off road, right? You want to do off road. If you're going to go get a Jeep, I'm thinking you want to do some off road, and that platform is based off the Ram, okay, on the Wagoneer. It's based off the Ram 1500. The big ones, not no little pickup truck, okay? So those things are, it's just like the Escalade and the QX80. The Escalade is based off the GMC or the Chevy Silverado, right? On that platform. And so, Nissan Titan, what I'm saying? So same thing. But it's much more. The QX80 is just too nice for the Jeep. Yeah, it's too nice. Yeah, the same. It's the same company that makes the Compass. The Compass is horrible. Compass is horrible. It is. The Jeep Patriot is. Look, it is.
Yeah,
It's
y'all really
horrible.
being y'all
The
are being
Renegade is
greedy.
okay. The Renegade is okay, but nah, that Compass and that we drove the Compass before. That thing is trash. Remember we got stuck in the mud in that thing at homecoming when we went to college. We went back to our homecoming. We got stuck in the
You
mud.
are talking about your own best friend.
Yes, I am, and I'm glad he got rid of that thing. That thing sucked. That thing was horrible.
God.
That thing was horrible, man. That thing got stuck in the mud. A Kia Optima was getting out better than us. We have a Jeep. Come on.
But listen, y'all, both of y'all are sinister right now. Y'all are devious, both of y'all. Both of y'all.
Oh, man. Infinity's on a whole different level, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more. Well, I will say this: the Jeep Wagoneer is a bit cheaper. It's 62 grand. That the QX80 starts off at 82 grand. So, 20 grand for.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I
Not
want I
close.
want to I want to interject this, and then we're gonna close out. Um, Here's the thing. What Number one, both of y'all being devious than the mug. Let's just get that out. All right, yeah,
Hey
okay,
man, we
cool.
got look.
Okay. I'm gonna explain myself. But I like this though because it explains just your human nature, right? And you hit the nail on the head, Chris. If I'm in the arena, if I'm in the area, the market for a luxury full
Uh,
size SUV, I'm not thinking about Jeep, right? And that's the biggest issue that companies have to understand. That if your name have been synonymous with a type of lifestyle, it's hard to delineate and transition from that type of lifestyle into a luxury type of lifestyle. Even though, here's the issue though, even though now the Jeep Grand Wagoneer interior is said to be almost is greater or better than the S class, right?
S
It's said to
class, or
be.
did you say
Yes,
Escalade or S class?
I said what I said.
Did
I
you
said
say?
what
Did you
I
say?
said. I
Did you
said
say?
what
What
I
you
said.
say? Did you
But
say this
listen,
on? You do not
listen.
remember. Everybody is going to hear this. Okay,
Yes,
just don't
yes, yes,
forget that. Just
yes.
don't
I'm
forget
I'm
that.
saying they said their interior touch and feel of a Jeep Grand Wagoneer, not the regular Wagoneer, but the Grand Wagoneer. The touch and feel of the interior, right, is on par, or if not better than the S class. That means, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Wait, no. Let me sum it up. Okay, cool. So let's just say, for hypothetically,
Nope,
I'm right, right? Let's just say that I
nope,
am right, but let's just
nope,
say hypothetically I'm
nope.
right. That doesn't matter because the reality of it is, it goes back to what Chris says. If my mind, I'm not going to think Jeep, right? And it's like if they would have marketed it as a rugged full size SUV, I think they would have had a better chance of selling it um at a higher level, right? But they're marketing it as a 80,000. Now the Grand Wagoneer can top out at 100K, right? That, which is, yeah, so it can top out at that. And so they're marketing as this luxury creme de la creme vehicle, right? Now they're being marked down from the MSRP by $33,000. $33,000, and they sit on the lot. You,
Their resale value
that,
is terrible.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a,
I still, I like the Maserati cross rotate, but we okay. Let's
yeah,
but yeah. So you're right, but I say that to sum it up to say that perception is everything, and I hate that Jeep failed at perception. And my end thoughts is that the QX80 is going to be knocking on the doors of Cadillac and Lincoln. If Lincoln don't do something with the Navigator, it's it's, it's going to
yeah.
be. I'm looking exactly. So So Kenya, your last words
Man, look,
before we
that
close out.
that QX80 man is signaling, is letting everybody know that Infinity is still here. They're
Yes.
saying, they letting everybody know, like, we ain't going nowhere. We're here, and we're here. We're here to fight. We're here to fight. We ain't here to lay down. We're not no punks. We're not just gonna come in and lay down for you. We're not gonna come and lay down. They really show their potential with that car, just what they can actually do. They dared to do something great, and they did it. They did it, and it yeah, that thing gonna be a beast, man. Like, for real. Like, we haven't even seen. This is just the beginning. I'm expecting that to trickle down their lineup to every product, including the QX60, Donald. I'm expecting that. Yeah, they're gonna facelift it. I'm expecting that to trickle down their lineup, throughout, because they still got the Q50 out there, and the Q70 is no longer in production, but they still got the Q50. I'm expecting the Q50 and the Q70 to be replaced. The QX50, I'm also expecting them to redesign that. And so they're going to come back. They're not just going to create a nice big SUV and then that's it. It's going to trickle down the lineup. They are back. They are back. And guess what? That's bad news for Genesis.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A lot of people have been saying that Genesis is going to replace Infinity. But Infinity's like, nah.
Oh, okay. We're gonna get I'm gonna get the last laugh. I'm gonna get the last laugh because if Genesis, we own it. We own it. But Chris, your last words before we close out.
Yes, right. That CX90 is on point, man. That CX90 is,
Really?
yes.
Really?
They
Oh,
just getting
really?
started.
Really?
Genesis, I'm expecting better sales numbers from them actually, but I'll save that for another time. It's
Yeah,
I,
I'm gonna come at y'all another time, but we short for time, so I'm gonna let y'all have y'all little licks in, while
yeah,
Monster
man.
over
Look,
there struggling, trying to find out if they gonna be uh uh
look,
uh,
man.
uh
Look, we coming,
luxury
man.
or semi luxury. But you know what? I'm humble enough to give Monster its credit when credit's due. That hey, that CS90, hey, he knocked it out the ballpark. So hey, that's it, right? So that being said, my last thoughts on the Infinity is I'm glad that they find their identity. I hate that it had to come through these um turmoil within their company, but rough times create strong people, and I think that's exactly what's happening. Rough times has created a strong company now. Now they are a strong contender, and yeah, they executed everything, and I do have an inclination like you guys. I do feel like that Q70 is gonna come out and it's gonna drop somebody's mouth. It's gonna drop all our mouths, right? And I do have that inclination that when the Q70 come out, you know, that the monster six or whatever is not gonna be able to stand
Anyway,
his mouth.
anyway,
So
anyway,
I'm gonna end up on
anyway.
that note. But
You know
hey.
that they screwed up that G80, so
Oh,
you
that
have you see
G80 is beautiful.
they screwed up the interior in it too when they
I mean,
facelifted it.
okay, the facelift, I would agree. I'm not really a big fan of it, but it is what it is. But yeah, look, okay, okay. So, we got the monster fanboys in the house against the
Hey
Genesis.
man, look, you
It's
got
all
good
good.
taste. You got good taste.
It's all
But
good. But yeah, okay.
but
Cool,
yeah,
cool.
man. All that is gonna trickle down the rest of that lineup. I'm expecting a full lineup from Infinity once again,
Okay, I will
and
say this though: the Q50 is not going to come back. Like
that's
in
a
order for
compact
the
sedan though. I
that
would
doesn't
expect
matter.
that. That's going.
Compact
It's
sedans have to. The reason why compact sedans are so productive and so big is because of nameplate, right? When the nameplate is at a certain level, people want to be affiliated with that nameplate, right? So people can't afford a C class, or whatever, so they get their little A class or their little, whatever, because they are exactly. So that's his affiliation. So that's why it's successful. But I think Q50, not Q50, but I think Infinity understand this concept, and I don't think it's wise for them to even develop the Q50 at this time.
I don't agree. I think
I
it's a
agree.
smart.
I
I
don't
think
think
that
it's
I think it's
financially.
going to be on another rear wheel drive platform, and it's going to be just as good, if not better, than the current one. So, I it's always been there. So I don't see why they're going to all of a sudden get rid of it. It outlasted the Q70. That's the one you might want to question. You know, so I mean, but the
Yeah,
Q50, I think that's here to stay because compact sedans are successful for premium car companies, and even if Cadillac is not going to bring the CT6 back to America, they got the CT5. Okay,
yeah, which is one of the best selling sedans or vehicles for Cadillac. So
so
yeah,
I
we're
think the
gonna
Q50 is going to come back. I think it's coming back.
okay, we're gonna make a bet. Let's make a bet.
I
I
don't
say
know
it come.
when. I don't know when it's coming back. Okay, I'm just saying it's going to come back. Okay, I
No,
don't know. I never did say
no,
when. I just said
we
it's
need to
going to
make a
happen.
bet.
I'm
Put the money
expecting it
on
to
it.
happen within this decade because once again, you've seen that
Now you
QX80.
cheating. Now you
That's going to trickle
cheating.
down that lineup.
Cause I was
No,
gonna
it's
make a
going to
bet
be
within 5 years.
within 5 years before 2030. Before 2030.
Okay, I say, all right. See, that's too vague, Kenya. All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna let that go. But all right, guys, it's AutoRing magazine. It's your boy D Seymour, Kenya.
Episode 1.
Exactly, Chris. All right, and we
K
are.
Johnson. All right.
Yeah. I said anyway,
There's
and
going to
we
be
are
more to
out.
come. We're just getting started. So stay tuned.
All right, all right, all right. I appreciate it. All right, we are out, guys. Peace.
Peace.